And there's been a lot of criticism about the way that I said certain things. Things can be misinterpreted. Anything I say can be misinterpreted. That is true of literally anyone. Folks talking about my facial reaction, how I'm smiling, how I'm laughing, as I'm explaining this situation.
You know what?
You know who else was criticized?
I completely understand what she's saying there, because I remember when I was on a stream a stream that I got really viciously attacked on Adam's channel. If you guys don't know why I had a falling out with Adam Krigler, I did like a 7-hour stream about it on this channel. You can look it up. It's like a 7-hour stream. But one of the things that they said was, so Adam, it had to do with like the white identitarian bullshit that I really don't want to get into again. But like when I was on the stream with Adam talking about this stuff, I started knitting at some point because I was so upset at the content that we were talking about that I just it was a coping mechanism. Okay, it was a coping mechanism, and now I knit all the time on streams. There was a time when I didn't knit on stream. Now I knit. I'm knitting right now. I knit all the time on streams now. I love knitting on streams now. It's great. But there was a time I didn't do that. And I started knitting on that stream with Adam where we had the big falling out. And there were people that were upset about it. Like, how dare she knit? She's not even listening. They were saying the most horrible things. And it wasn't true that I wasn't listening. As you guys no, like I have muscle memory when it comes to knitting. I can knit and do almost anything. It wasn't that I wasn't listening. It was that I was about to cry and I was using it as a coping mechanism. And so I think that a lot of times this is another reason why I say, like, I don't think I would go on Tim Pool's show, because it has nothing to do with Tim Pool, has nothing to do with him at all, it has to do with the audience. As much as I might rag on Lydia, I do not like the way that audience has treated Lydia. Lydia and I have our differences. Lydia stole my fucking haircut. I'm not happy about it. Covered that at the beginning of the stream if you didn't see it. Stole my haircut. We have our differences, but where I will absolutely have Lydia's back is Tim Pool's audience has been fucking horrible to Lydia. They've been horrible. That's not a reflection necessarily of Tim Pool. But I don't want to put myself in front of that. I have no desire to put myself in front of that. Like, no. Why? So I can have memes made all over the internet talking about my weight? Like, fuck that. Why? And so I guess I'm saying that I understand how difficult it can be dealing with an audience like that. And it sucks. This is why I curate my channel. This is why I curate my chat. I want to keep it nice to everyone. By the way, if you're new here, you're new to my chat, you don't watch my channel often, we have 2 rules. Rule number 1 is don't be a dick. Rule number 2 is no whining. If you follow those 2 rules, you're going to be just fine. You're not going to get blocked or anything. But if you come into my chat and you're a dick, or if you come into my chat and you're whining, you're going to get blocked really quickly, because I curate my chat. I want to create an experience that's nice for people. But selfishly, I also want it to be a nice experience for me, And so I understand the reaction she might have gotten, is I guess what I'm saying.
For making a certain face that turned out to be completely wrong was Nick Sandman. He had to sue the media for defamation so that they would stop lying about him. So as it turns out, my crime was my tweets. Here's one. Woke up this morning to learn Nick Rekieta was banned from YouTube. If you don't know, I'm on a vastly different time zone. I know 0 underlying facts. I'm not going to opine now. Now, as in at this moment. Doesn't mean that that's not going to happen later. But I will repeat that I generally don't like even controversial people getting canceled. There's been a lot about this phrase, even controversial. Is he not controversial? Is he not controversial?
This is her tweet.
Maybe we'll see in a little bit someone saying that he's controversial, and it's not me. Anyway, here's a second tweet. Anyway, if you enjoy this content and you want to keep watching him, here's a link to his locals community where you'll be able to see his stuff for the foreseeable future. And if you don't, then you can always abstain from clicking the link. There's nothing sarcastic in this tweet. Check it out.
That's hers.
That's me. I
All right.
posted a link so that people.
I think that's a reasonable response. Now I absolutely do understand why people went at her, though. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it was fair. Here's the problem with content creator audiences. The bad ones, not the good ones. Listen, like when I'm talking about someone's audience, I want to be really clear about this because God knows this is going to get taken out of context anyway, but I want to be really clear about this. When I'm talking about someone's audience, who I'm usually talking about are the awful but vocal minority. So when I say like Tim Pool's audience, many of you watching right now are in Tim Pool's audience. You watch his show more than I do, certainly, because I watch it maybe twice a year. If there's someone that I know that's on, right? When I say Tim Pool's audience, though, I'm not being inclusive of absolutely everyone in his audience. I'm being inclusive of the awful but incredibly vocal part of his audience that tends to make the lives of people they are targeting a living, breathing hell for as long as they're reeing at them about whatever they're pissed off about. And so I would say the same thing here, right? Like, when she sent out that tweet, what I'm going to bet happened is that I don't think it serves her to be a woman, and I don't usually play the gender card, but I do think women get it worse than men do. I absolutely do. But B, people, if they're pissed off and they're outrage addicts, are going to be looking for any reason they can to get mad at someone. And so if she made it seem like she wasn't going to take a position, which she kind of did. Now, I don't think that okay, let me rephrase. That was not properly phrased. I take it back. She made it clear that she was not going to take a position right then because she didn't know what was going on. Okay? But in the land of Twitter, people read things in the most extreme possible way that you can read something. That small but incredibly vocal minority will not read fully what she wrote and will just take something and make an assumption by it because they just want a reason to be pissed off. And so I think that she maybe should have anticipated them doing it based on how she worded the tweet. And I don't think there was anything wrong with what she tweeted at all. And this is the problem, right? She, based on what I've seen so far, she didn't do anything wrong. But she got a reactionary audience that went at her because they didn't like the wording of the tweet because they didn't read it and they didn't fully think about it and they just reacted in their outrage junkie state. Not her fault, but maybe she should have anticipated it because it's my impression that she has some experience in this whole game now. So she's been doing it for a minute, right? She's been doing it for at least a year because I remember her from the Rittenhouse trial. So she's got some experience in this. She probably should have known better. Probably should have been a little more thoughtful about the way she worded the tweet. But I don't think she did anything wrong. It seems like a nice defense.
People could go and watch him. This was in support of Nick to say, hey, he's not on YouTube, but he's trying something out on Locals and out on Rumble. Go check him out there.